when you first get out of bed, how long is it before you grab your phone and start checking the news, the alerts, what people are saying on Facebook, what's going on Twitter? Huh? I've trained myself not to do that for quite some time. But you know, it's easy to just grab it and say, hey, wow, stock market's doing that? Hey, it's Tim Patterson. This is Trade Show Guy, Monday Morning Coffee for Star Wars Day, May the 4th. Be with you, May 4th, 2020, or something like that. You can find all things Trade Show Guy at my hub site, TradeshowGuy.net. The books are there. You can find exhibits there. You can find a few freebies as well. No guest this week, but a few short thoughts on working from home, figuring out a way forward, and so on and so forth. So, I've seen a lot of articles and discussions over the past few weeks on how to work from home when you're used to working in an office environment. It's a big shift. It really is. I mean, a lot of it has to do with when do you start work, when do you stop work, when do you take a break, how do you focus on it when you've got kids or dogs or whatever going on around the house. You got lawnmowers outside, you got trains nearby, whatever. So moving all those tasks from work to home kind of creates a situation where it may be difficult to concentrate, difficult to get things done in a timely manner. Certainly it's different for everybody. Everybody's in a unique situation. I've been lucky enough to work from home for almost 9 years. And, I'm still adjusting because things are fluid. It used to be that I would often have 2 to 3, maybe 4, sometimes 5 days a week where it was just me and the dog. My wife would be working all day, depending on her schedule. My son, my stepson would be at school. But they're both home now, which means any work has to be done with, adjusting schedules, people around. Used to plan at times to go to a local coffee shop for a couple of hours to write when my wife was home, for example. But, coffee shops are closed now, so that can't happen. That's a no-go. She doesn't mind me working when she's around, but I try and give the courtesy of, having some space and quiet when she's home. So now we're adjusting. I often get up at 6 or 6:15 and write for an hour, maybe 90 minutes. Then we walk the dog, have breakfast, and then I work for a while. And given that here in the trade show and event industry, no shows are happening and won't happen for months, old clients and prospects and people I've been talking to and staying in touch with, they're just not making any decisions on any new product right now, really. Very small stuff, but some people are finishing up some older small stuff. During the winter, we did a bunch of upgrades for clients and had some new clients. But right now, everything is on hold for the time being. I think I mentioned on one of these shows that I'm driving for Uber Eats. My son does it and enjoys it. And I thought, well, I'll try it. He said, I make pretty good money at it. He told me how much he's making. My eyes kind of popped a little bit. He said, that was a good day, but, it happened. So I'm doing it for, 3 hours, 4 hours a day max, sometimes during lunch, sometimes dinner. It's actually pretty good money for the time involved, and I choose my own hours, which means I'm also able to keep blogging like I do a couple times a week. I do this podcast every week. I'm doing a small postcard promotion as well, which I'll talk about in just a second. But that was, in the works in late December. I had this idea because I've had this domain, TradeshowBuy.com, and I've gotten it to where it's a redirect to Exhibit Design Search, which is the great exhibit design search put on by Classic Exhibits. They have thousands of exhibits there. You can customize them. You can get accessories, rentals, everything. You name it. It's all under that one umbrella. And if you go to TradeshowBuy.com, that's what you'll find. So I've had this postcard in the works, and I had a designer put this together. And I figured, given the situation that we're all in with the pandemic, that I thought, maybe I can get a little extra business by sending out postcards at this time and scribbling on it, save this card through the year. You get free shipping through 2020. I'll be happy to do it. Let's say you buy a good exhibit at 10 by 20, 10 by 30 over the next 3 months, 6 months towards the end of the year. We'll honor the free shipping through 20 by 20. And you can find this. I'm going to make sure you get a copy of this on the website. It should be on the right-hand column there by the time this posts. So TradeshowBuy.com. If you had a chance to catch some of my recent guests on the show, you'll find different approaches to handling businesses, how they're handling business during the pandemic. Some are, pivoting to other products or using the skills they have and doing different things. Some are figuring out and offering virtual or digital versions of things they used to do in person. Some are figuring out how to teach or otherwise use their knowledge to assist clients, it's not one size fits all. Not at all. Never has been, and certainly isn't now. If you're working from home, I think it's important to get a routine. I think it's important to communicate with your partner or other family members about what you need to make it work, and ask what they need from you. Communication is key. I mean, if you need an 8-hour day, figure out what those 8 hours are, and when it's done, it's done. You know, if that eighth hour ends at 5 p.m., then walk away. Don't go try and do work at 7 or 7:30 p.m. I have been guilty of that on occasion, but not much. Usually once I draw the line is drawn and I walk away. And I also see a lot of talk about recovery, how things will change and resume and get back to quote unquote normal. Restaurants will reopen, sports leagues will play games again, cruise ships will cruise again, movie theaters will open. There's a lot underlying stuff that may affect how that works, but I would agree that all that will come back at some point. May not look exactly the same, but things won't be the same, may never be the same. I tend to read a lot of wonky stuff about economics, and given the size of the hole that's been blown in our economy, what is it, 30 to 35 million unemployed in the last 4 weeks. Those are the claims filed, and there's enough evidence to show that a lot of people are unable to file that have been working, and so you can add probably a lot to that number as well. It's like that way around the world, and it will take a lot to get those people back on the job and get back to normal, whatever that may be. Oddly enough, some people, it's business as usual. And some people, not much has changed. People that are retired and stay at home a lot, like my mom, very little has changed. She doesn't see too many people. We've had a Zoom call with her, and she's learning how to use that. Others have found it hard to navigate all the changes and challenges that the pandemic lockdown has brought. Other states, some states are back to normal already, with everything open, even though the virus is still spreading. Virus doesn't care about the laws. It'll just do what it's going to do. Others are talking about what it'll look like in the next few months when they start reopening parks and stores and restaurants and other businesses a bit at a time. That's it. I hope you have a good week. Don't have a guest this week. I would love to have a guest next week. We'll see if that happens. I'll try and get one. So I'll wrap it up with this week's one good thing. I get a daily newsletter, and if I've mentioned this on this show, it's been a long time. It's called Muck Rack Daily, and I'll put a link in the show notes, but it's a journalism-based, a reporting-based, a public relations-based newsletter that has links to dozens of stories every day and commentary on what's going on. It's a pretty quick read. It takes a couple minutes to get through, although if you click on the links and go to the stories, then you're lost in it. But Muck Rack is one of my favorites because I grew up in kind of a journalism world. I was in journalism in high school, did a lot of reporting and anchoring on news in radio, the many, many years I spent behind the microphone. So news is kind of, important to me. It's in my blood. And so Muck Rack Daily is pretty nice when it comes to getting the latest stories and seeing what people are saying. So that's it for this week's Trade Show Guy Monday Morning Coffee. Go to tradeshowguy.net. It's all there. And we'll see you next time around.